and welcome back to another episode of Fashion Meets History with Domii Davis. Today we're getting into part 2 of Black music that changed fashion. But before we get into the episode, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this video and hit that notification button so you don't miss any new videos. As always, follow me on my social media channels below. And without further ado, let's get into the video. Last week, we talked about the Supremes and the influence that they and their designers, like Lavetta and Michael Travis, and trends in music and fashion that we still use to this day. This week, we're picking up where the Supremes and Diana Ross left off. First up, Tina Turner. Tina Turner was born Anna Mae Bullock in Nutbush, Tennessee. Later, she moved from down south up to the city and met the infamous Ike Turner. After hearing her sing, she instantly became a lead singer in his band, which had minor successes throughout the 50s, eventually landing a mainstream hit, A Fool in Love, in the early 60s. Similar to the Supremes, Tina Turner always had the iconic big hair, but her iconic looks always encompassed exotic cuts, fringe, beading, and grunge. A better explanation would be the punk rock style and image that we think of today. Hence, Tina's influence not only on music, but fashion as well. The visuals for A Fool in Love featured a low-cut baby doll neckline jumpsuit topped with a fringe leather belt. It's similar to the belt style that we saw reappear a few years ago in fashion. Although the Ike and Tina Turner review received some acclaim throughout the 60s, they really hit the mainstream market in the early 70s with hits like Proud Mary and Nutbush City Limits. Obviously, historically, rock and roll, punk, and its other variations have its roots in Black culture, like most forms of American music. Even though all Black power structures and organizations like Motown were great and did wonders for music and fashion and getting our images out there, other systematic forms still thrived, like radio play and labeling African American music as a race record. When we think of Billboard charts today, the rhythm and blues category is still used to define specifically Black music, although we have many crossovers, many more today than back in the day, that are involved in punk, dance, and other genres of music. This tidbit is important because although Ike and Tina did have a R&B soul sounding vibe, Tina's voice and Tina's music has always been that of punk, pop, and rock and roll. You can hear it in her voice. But she and the Ike and Tina Turner review were limited, which is why it's important to credit artists like Tina Turner with music and style choices like this, because they really paved the way for some of those sounds. Finally, in the 70s, Tina started to get the recognition that she deserved and became more of a crossover artist, which allowed her to push her rock and roll and punk themes in her music and in her fashion. Her visuals for hit songs like Proud Mary incorporated her classic fringe and beads with a 20s flapper-esque inspired style of drapery and shorter hemline. Modern or mainstream 70s fashion consisted of the iconic bell bottoms, which have reappeared as wide legs, maxi and midi dresses and skirts, also which have reemerged in the 2010s and are also making a comeback now. Ruffles, halters, metallics, go-go boots, also trending, deep plunge v-necks, and jumpsuits, proving that fashion really does make its way right back around. What Tina brought to the 70s was more fringe, even shorter hemlines, plunge necklines, and a lot of sheer and mesh inspired styles. Like the Supremes, Tina was also styled a lot by designer Bob Mackie. He crafted her iconic feather look. In the late 70s, the public finally learned of Ike's abuse towards Tina. For a while, Tina struggled to recover her footing, getting back into the mainstream music industry. When she launched her truly solo career, she leaned all the way into the rock and roll and punk themes that always carried throughout her voice. In the 80s, she gave us the Private Dancer album, and in 84, her infamous What's Love Got to Do With It. The visuals for this song dove right back into Tina's fashion roots in punk and rock. Tina donned an 80s cropped denim jacket and head-to-toe leather. Tina has continued to remain a staple in music and fashion throughout the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and today. Another 70s artist who has encapsulated us with their music and fashion is none other than the godmother of soul herself, Patti LaBelle. Like Tina, Patti had early beginnings in the music industry. She started singing in the late 50s with the group The Ordettes, which later became the Bluebells in the 60s. In the late 70s, Patti also went on to start her solo career. Like Tina, Patti also embraced the punk rock style in her music and her fashion. Although Patti's sound is a little more soulistic, you can still hear the rock and punk undertones in much of her work. And her fashion gave us that same vibe as well. The major difference between Tina and Patti's iconic style choices is that Patti will forever be extra glamorous, and the glam is why we love her. Patti's style is eccentric. Her visuals often included wild hairstyles and cuts, over-the-top bows and furs, sequins and shimmer, and these fantabulous headpieces. Like Tina, Patti has continued to set trends for us to follow. Patti has enjoyed a long career that has branched out into various different avenues, such as cooking. Patti will continue to be a success and continue to be remembered for her fashion and her music throughout history. That's all I have for you today. I hope you've enjoyed talking about the iconic Tina Turner and Patti LaBelle as much as I have. Next Thursday, meet me back here for part 3 of Black music that changed fashion. Next up is the 80s featuring Janet Jackson and Whitney Houston. I cannot wait to do part 3 next week. Before you go, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss any new videos. And as always, feel free to check me out on my other social media channels below. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.